Today on Soul Impact, we welcome a rising voice in country rock, Chase Grant. Hailing from a small town in Minnesota, Chase brings the gritty vocals, soulful guitar, and a story born from dirt roads in real life. His music is hard and his healing hills deep. Let's dive in to the sound and the soul of Chase Grant.
This program is part of the Scene Project's podcast network. The Scene Project features interviews with independent musicians, comedians, and artists from across the Midwest. Become part of our community and support local art wherever you are.
I want to welcome everyone back to another episode of Soul Impact. I'm your host, Wild Willie. Today with me, I got Chase Grant, up and coming country rock sensation. Chase, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited. This is fun.
So a little bit about the show is we kind of dive into them topics that nobody wants to talk about and how music has saved you from the worst possible situation. Like for me, child abuse was really big in my home, and it was just something that showed me it was okay to feel mad and it's okay to feel, it helped me process my feelings.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I am from a small town called Rush City, Minnesota. I grew up there my entire life. Started playing guitar when I was 12. Just really your basic upbringing. I didn't sing in front of anybody until 2022. And it was just before my daughter was born, and I made a decision that I didn't want any of my children to know a version of me that was too afraid to do something that I felt like all of a sudden I had this tug from God to do. And so I heard that calling, and I answered, and he's held his end of the deal up throughout the whole time. It's been a great experience. And so I'm a solo artist playing all over the state, Wisconsin. Got some dates actually across the country with a duo with a fella named Max Hagman, Relax with Max here in Minnesota. And then I'm with the Farmer's Daughters Band as well. And they are part of the CMO Awards. That's how we got to know you guys through that and the Scenes projects and everything. And it's a small world, smaller than I would have ever thought. So yeah, that's basically about it.
Yeah, and actually kind of interesting how we met, because I put out that I was looking for an artist for a veteran concert, and you reached out, and now here it is next year in September. We know for sure that you're going to be out in Missouri, Salem, Missouri.
Yeah, I'm going to come out there and do it. It felt like it was tugging at my heartstrings when I saw the post just recently, and I just wanted to kind of be a part of that. That's what my music is about, is a lot of mental health, a lot of spiritual things, a lot of God. And I just feel like that was it'd be a good fit. And so I reached out, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, and actually kind of funny how it all worked out, because like we were actually, you got a hold of me about the benefit, and next thing I know, we're talking about the podcast. So it's kind of cool how it all worked out.
Yeah.
So, music has always been that impact. I kind of hit on what it's done for me. Kind of how, I know you said you started playing when you were 12, but kind of what got you into it? Like,
well, I had parents that were very, very seasoned in all genres of music. Like, we didn't grow up just listening to country. It was a lot of Stained and Aaron Lewis and Seether and Shinedown and like these 2000s rock bands. I'm 29, so I was born in 1996. And so that was kind of like that era of the new metal, if you will. And so I kind of cut my teeth on that stuff growing up. Even like early Nickelback, stuff like that. And I love that sound. And I was more of a rocker, honestly, until, I don't know. I guess I listened to country a lot too. It was a good mix, but I loved rock until a little bit later in life. And then I started kind of taking a turn towards the country thing. And then I just decided to blend the two. And Leonard Skinner was definitely my biggest influence. I had that greatest hits CD, man. I'd take that sucker with me on the bus. I wore it out. I think I knew every single word to them songs before I was in the third grade. I mean, I was the only kid that was sitting there listening to the Eagles and Skinner and Waylon Jennings on the school bus while everybody else was listening to Justin Bieber or whatever else was out at the time. I can't remember. I was like, nah, I can't do it. It's not
Yeah,
my
I'm the
thing.
same way. I was raised on that old gritty country, and I think that's what drew me once you rushed out and I kind of looked at your music. You do have a lot of that grittiness to your vocals, and you know, like you said, I think you fused the two really well together.
Thanks.
Hey, hey. No, I'm on the podcast, remember? Okay. Okay, we'll go in the yard and talk on your talkie. Sorry about that.
Nope, I totally get it.
So the thing about this is I want people to see that it's okay, and you hit on it, that it's okay to follow your dreams, whether it's being an artist, being a podcast, being a comedian, starting a business, no matter what it is.
Right.
So, you know, everybody has their own creative style when writing. How would you describe in the process that you do go through when you're writing a song?
Well, I pick a subject that's true, and I take that, and I actually usually find the melody first. I kind of find a beat. I find inspiration from a song that kind of comes into my head, and not a direct copy at all, but like I find something that's like, oh, this song kind of reminds me of this, such as like I have this one coming out in October called Cold Rain in October, and it was just kind of like a breakup type song, like girl's leaving, she's heading off into the sunset, like we're never gonna see her again. And I'm like, what does that remind me of? And I was like, oh, that's like Dirk Bentley, that song, the wheels just turn down the road ahead. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. And so I take that inspiration, I find a beat, I find a style that I want to put it in, and then it seems as if once I set those structures and set those bones of it, then I can start to find ways to fit words into it. And that's how I've kind of wrote. I always seem to find the music and the melody before I find the exact words.
Yeah, and that's what amazes me. Like, I've had so many artists. Like I said, I'm just starting out, but I'm probably recorded close to 30 episodes.
Mm.
And the process is never the same.
No.
I mean, they might be a few techniques and they're the same, but that's what is amazing about music is that you can write so many different ways and the end product be the same, you know, the heartfelt music. Just because, you know, like you said, just because how you do it don't mean it works for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's everybody's different, and there is no right or wrong way of doing it. And I've tried many different ways. I just feel like I keep going back to that structure is kind of how I'm doing it. And I even had that with a song I wrote the other day at like 2 a.m. I don't know why I was still up, but I was. And I started writing this, and I wrote the whole thing in about, I don't know, 20 minutes. And it started off with like almost like a neo soul type beat, like almost a funk type thing. And pretty soon I wrote this little love song, and I was like, whoa, that came quick. And I felt like it was really lyrically good, and it's just crazy. Yeah, sometimes it just comes in at moments, but nonetheless, it's still, even if it seems like divine when it comes to me, it still has to kind of follow that structure. Otherwise I just can't really seem to fit it together, or I'll end up changing it later if I do it a different way, if that makes sense.
Oh, completely. So have there been a time where if it wasn't for music, you wouldn't have been here? And can you kind of go in detail on it a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's been I've always felt like I was different than like friends listening to music. Like I can't just listen to a song just because it's the popular one on the radio. I always felt like while my friends were all listening to that stuff, I was the one that was listening to stuff that was more wordy or had more depth to it. Because even if I wasn't going through something, I felt like I almost experienced what the singer or the songwriter was going through just by hearing their lyrics and like the emotion that came from some of these singers. And it's helped me through just the simple stuff like little breakups and stuff in high school all the way into adulthood with challenges that my wife and I have had, or we'll get into this later, but with our children and my son's passing recently, like songwriting has really been able, for me, it's been the shovel and the rope to get out of whatever hole I've ever been in. And it's almost unexplainable because I can't really tell you why that is, but I think music is a gift from God. And I think that even if you can't make music, like it's there to either do one of two things, to go down. You can take it and you can listen to some dark stuff and kind of go down a bad path, or you can take it and go towards the light and, be the light of the world and be the hands and feet of Christ, really. And I don't think it matters which way you do that. As far as being the light, like I don't think you need to be a Christian artist to share your story and share your impact and help others.
Oh, I completely agree. I completely agree. I've seen it, and I'm a sound guy, and me and you talked before we set up the interview about that. I'm a sound guy. I'm a DJ. So I see a lot of artists that come to stage that don't necessarily believe in themselves, or they have one bad performance and they're done. And it's really sad because I think there's a need within the community, the music community, that there needs to be more mentorships. Like,
yeah, I could see that. I believe that.
Because I will tell you, and you mentioned Bubba, and he's an amazing person. He really is.
Absolutely.
I met him back at Vibe Fest out at a friend of mine event, at an event a friend of mine put on out at Captain Jack's. Her name's Casey Smith, and me and Bubba just instantly connected. Actually, I've only known Bubba 3 months.
And
Daddy, this is my walkie-talkie.
Okay.
Got a walkie-talkie.
doing good.
But it just takes it into perspective. And I told Bubba, I was like, hey, I have this idea for a podcast. And you have them people in your life that you just instantly hit off with, and you felt like you've known each other for 1,000 years.
Oh yeah.
Bubba was that. Like from day one, we connected, and we tag team sound together for that event. Plus he performed. And next thing I know, he's calling me a couple days after he gets back, and he's like, let's make this dream a reality. So here I am, almost 30 episodes in. I have enough episodes out to where I think it goes to the end of January of next year. All my interviews I already have recorded.
That's insane, man. That's very quick to put that together. And I think that's not an accidental timing of meeting each other to make that happen. I think I think this is something that's meant to be. And it's, like you said, mentorship is needed out there. And I think that isn't only just through people performing that to help other performers. I think it's platforms such as yours that can bring people to a whole new level of audience, or that they can grow their confidence in, like, hey, I have an interview set up. Like this is rolling into something positive, and they can start to see what they want to do with their music form through things like this, I believe.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and it's not just for the artist. It's for everyday people that are struggling with anxiety, depression, losing a loved one, losing a job, whatever your struggle is. And that's what I want from this. Is I wanted people to see that, and you had mentioned losing your son, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
My prayers go out for you and your family.
Thanks.
That it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
Society has told us that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and suck it up and deal with it, And to a point, you need to suck it up, but you also need, if you're struggling and you're someone out there that's watching this episode and you're struggling with depression, loss of a loved one, losing a job, whatever it is, it's okay to get help.
Yeah, I agree. It's I think there's been a big shift, and I don't know when exactly that happened. I'd say within the last 5 years or so. I think is kind of when we started seeing this more of mental health is a real thing, man. It's not just like you said, it's not just a suck it up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps type of world anymore. And I don't think that means that we're all getting soft. I just think that means that we are learning to develop as a species, if you will, like to help each other out, man. Because like this life is short, and it don't pay to be miserable. I tell you that. And there is a hope in companionship, and there's a hope in people, and a love for people that I think that we need to continue getting that out. And I think that this is very helpful in that aspect.
For sure. So who would you say, and you kind of put on your biggest influence as musically, but who's been that person that in your day-to-day life that has been your rock through all this, and no matter if it felt like you were losing money, that they were in your corner?
I would say it's not even just a single person. I'd say it's all of my immediate family. Since I started doing this, there has been not a lot of shows that you won't see my grandparents at. There's not a lot of shows you won't see my wife and daughter, or my mom and dad, or my sister, my brother-in-law, and a handful of really good people that I've met just meeting them at the shows. I feel like I'm in the right place doing it when I see, like for instance, like I was saying, my grandma and grandpa would come walking through the parking lot and wearing their Chase Grant shirts, and it just makes me feel like, I think 10 years ago I'd have been like, oh my gosh, like grandma and grandpa were in there wearing my t-shirt, how embarrassing. But I've grown to the point where I'm like, hey, these guys are here to love and support this dream that I'm putting together, and I think that they see the impact that it's making on others and the change that it's making in my life, and therefore able to kind of trickle down into my family, my wife and kids, and the change that I've been through mentally through being a full-time musician now, and kind of letting go of the daytime job stress, and getting to focus more on helping people.
And that's amazing. And so where can people find you at? Like, what platforms are you on?
I'm on almost everything. The main way to find it would be just to go to chasegrantmusic.com. And then it's kind of a new website. I started it just a few weeks ago, just kind of still trying to work out the way to, lay it out and everything. But yeah, chasegrantmusic.com. And then there's clickable links to Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the music platforms where you can find original music. And I have a couple covers on there as well. One that actually just hit 5,000 streams on Spotify yesterday. It's kind of cool.
Would that be the blue one?
Yeah, Blue on Black. It's a
Blue
cover.
on Black. Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, I played it yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lady that's helping me put on this veteran concert, I like, look, this is who I just landed. And she's like, awesome. So,
Oh, cool. I was excited to record that one. It was kind of an idea I had this year after I tried, when I was working full time, I was releasing singles, but it seemed like it would just be so hard to get back in the studio and find the time. And it was middle of winter. If my vocals weren't good, getting after work, getting over there and stuff. And so I'm like, you know what? I want to try to, instead of just waiting to record originals months and months apart, I'm going to start peppering in a few covers here and there, just to build the platform, right? Like, I'm not famous by any stretch. It's like, what's the harm in throwing more content at the wall and seeing what hits? And collaborating with artists such as Max, who I mentioned earlier with the duo. I got him on lead guitar in that song, and the kid just shreds, man. It's so cool to hear his voice on there through guitar.
So what has been I know this answer since we already, like I said, we talked offline, but what has been that one song that has been like,
Dad, come on, watch this one.
Sissy, you can watch whatever you want, but I need you to stop, okay? What has been that one song that has given you the most healing writing, that, it was a little hard to write at first, but in the end, it gave you so much healing?
That's a very easy one to answer, and that is the song that I wrote called "The Devil's Game," because that one, at its core, is simply a declaration of saying the devil is not going to control the narrative anymore. This is my life, child of God, and this you have no say over what's
I've been myself,
in my heart anymore.
I've been happy or sad, no pleasure, no pain. It's the clouded mind, and Lord, I feel so ashamed. I'm caught in the storm, yeah, my mind's in a war. There's been days I couldn't make it out the door. I'll be damned if I let it define me. I'll let the word set me free. The devil plays his games around me, but he can't have my life anymore. 'Cause I've gone round for round trying to do this on my own. Say I'm fine, but I'm living a lie. I'm done being numb towards the ones that I love. I let the Lord take control. I let the rhythm take the wheel. I put my faith in the words. Just trying to find myself again in the songs that I write. For the good intent, the truth is hard to find. Lay down these burdens, try to make up the time that I spent searching for help that I needed. My foolish pride was too stubborn to receive. Was trying to strike a balance in my heart and my head, and silence the doubt that's been so constantly fed. 'Cause my whole life I stepped up to the plate, rocking out before I could swing. The devil plays his games around me, but he can't have my life anymore. 'Cause I've gone round for round trying to do this on my own. Say I'm fine, but I'm living a lie. I'm done being numb towards the ones that I love. I let the Lord take control. I let the rhythm take the wheel. I put my faith in the words. Just trying to find myself again. The songs that I write. Well, God, I'm down on my knees, yeah, I'm begging you. And my wife, yeah, they're gonna need me. My broken mind's a million miles away from the man that you want me to be. The devil plays his games around me, but he can't have my life anymore. 'Cause I've gone round for round trying to do this on my own. Say I'm fine, but I'm living a lie. I'm done being numb towards the ones that I love. I'll let the Lord take control. I'll let the rhythm take the wheel. I'll put my faith in the words. Just trying to find myself again. The songs that I write.
Man, that is so relatable, buddy. And honestly, you sent it to me. It's the first time I heard it. I didn't want to ruin the original first impression.
Sure. No, I appreciate that, actually. That's nice.
It kind of takes me back to when I went through my divorce 2 years ago. You know, I was at that point, you know, and that's the thing is music is so relatable.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not knocking anyone, but that's what I love. I love seeing when someone puts the heart into it, you know, just by hearing that song, you hear the amount of heart that you put into that. And, you know, and I'm not knocking anyone, and also I love it when you see an artist perform and they never perform the same way.
Sure.
Like they perform the song the same way, don't mess up the lyrics, but how they interact on the stage. And, I got a good friend of mine. Her artist name is Firewhite. I've probably seen her like 10 times. And yeah, I have never seen her perform her songs the same way.
That's kind of neat. Yeah. It's always kind of almost an in the moment thing of to like, you can almost see like the way she'd be feeling then, whether the way she ends it or makes the song flow or something. I could relate to that. I've done that myself.
Man, your song was so good. I don't know where to go from there.
Well, every word is true of that. I actually, I had that partially written. And then one morning when I had that line in there, there's been days I couldn't even make it out the door. There was a day that I was so wound up about, I didn't even know what it was about. It was literally nothing. I just was so anxious and so angry that morning of going to work. And I couldn't get my stuff together. My mind wasn't working. And I poured my coffee. I got my stuff together for work, but I was just like, I'm not ready. Like something is missing. And I was running late and it just like snowballed and snowballed. And I was having this almost what I would think would be a panic attack. I'd never had one. But I could not make it out the door. I did not go to work that day. And that was the day that I scheduled an appointment with my doctor to change anxiety meds or whatever I did that day. And I was on my way to that appointment and it was middle of winter and I almost slid into another car. I ended up going up onto the sidewalk. Thankfully, nobody was walking on it to avoid getting in a collision. And it was just, I came home and I put the pen to paper and finished that song that day. Because I was like, this is enough. Like, I am done having the enemy control the way that my mind is going to function, the way I'm going to treat people and the way I'm going to treat my family. Like, nope, I'm done. I'm going to let the word set me free. I feel like it was almost took me longer to write that song. What's wrong, honey? Wait, want that out of the way? Okay, I will in a little bit. Okay, you can climb back there. It was almost like I was under an attack to like not get that one done. It seemed like every time I would try to write it, it was just kind of like, I'll finish it later, like just never quite got it done until that day. And I was just like, that's enough is enough. And then there it was. And I recorded it probably a week or two later. Just to get it, like, to say I finally did it. Because, like, okay, now it's written, but is that as far as we're going to get? Sub the devil. And I'm like, nope, actually, we're going to go record it and stick it to the man a little bit. That's what I did.
Well, you did an incredible job on it.
Thank you. And that's actually the version that, the second version we did. There is a full band version out there that we did first. What, honey? You can get through there. Just try it. So we had a full band version that I recorded, and then this was actually the one that's on the EP. And for some reason, I just like the mix just a little more. I kind of like that acoustic and shaker type vibe. Like that's the whole project was supposed to be. It sounded like a front porch.
Yeah, you definitely get that. That took me back to, hearing that, definitely that front porch bonfire kind of experience song.
Just give me one moment. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that's totally the vibe that we were going for. I told them I wanted an acoustic version, and then as we're listening to it, I'm like, man, that would sound cool with like a mandolin in there and a banjo. And he's like, yeah, what about like a mountain music type thing? Like that's the vibe that we're going for. And so that's how we recorded it. Was very stripped back and front porchy. And
that's awesome. Honestly, that's the point I want to be able to is help people record that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a DJ right now, and honestly, I would love to hang that up. Not so much the sound side of it, but the DJ side of it, and be able to focus strictly on helping people make music. And
yeah. Emmy, hold on.
And that's the thing I wanted to show with this. I mean, and which I think is so amazing that it's going there naturally on its own. But the realness of it, you have your kid over there. I have my kid over there,
Yeah.
It's okay whether you're 29, 35, however old you are, even if you're not sure where to go, it's okay to chase some dreams.
Absolutely. And I would be an advocate to tell anybody that says otherwise that they are completely wrong, because I think I was in that boat for a long time where I was like, oh no, I can't quit welding. I'm not, qualified to be a full-time musician, and it's not going to work. And there's not enough money in this state and around the area to do that. It's just a weekend hobby. Nope. If you really pursue it and put the work in, and you have to do it. I mean, there's no easy way around it. You will be rewarded, especially I think if you're doing it for the right purpose and out to help people. I've had so many gigs and things coming my way at private events that I'll end up booking at a show that I've already booked. That was maybe something that I booked from another person at another show. Like it's just, as for instance, like the lady that sponsors me, I met her at just a one-off gig at a distillery in early fall of last year, before October. Yeah, I suppose it was before October, because I played her Halloween event. It was the first time that I had really been hired by her to do anything. She's actually a woman's boutique in Waite Park, which is crazy that she would want to kind of be my sponsor as a male country artist. But the point of it is that we are two small businesses that kind of see eye to eye on a lot of things. And she's a great person. Her name is Alicia. And she has a company called E&Co Clothing here in Waite Park. And she's been a very big advocate for my son going through his stuff and helping us do fundraising and all that. And we're actually going to be partnering up here to do another side business that I'm starting called Created with a Purpose, which is going to be a t-shirt line and sweatshirt clothing brand that all the proceeds will be going towards another nonprofit here in Minnesota as well that helps NICU families get through their time with some care packages and some things that get sent their way.
Daddy, help me.
And so the
That's
funds
awesome.
will be put towards that to send out to families. Being that I don't have a nonprofit myself
Mama,
at the moment, but who knows, a couple of years down the road that could all change.
That's awesome. Just like coming from a parent that my middle boy, he spent 15 days up in the NICU. So that's awesome, we make a lot of choices, and sometimes our choices, in the moments you're going through them, they seem like the right choice, and later on you have to eat the consequences of your action.
Yeah.
And sometimes we are our own worst critic. I mean, and not necessarily in a good way or a bad way. We can be our biggest supporter and we can be our worst critic. Is what I mean by that. It's just like, I would bet my house on this podcast and my business. But there's days where, like when I was first starting this podcast, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This thing is going to fail.
Sure.
And that's where having a support system is so important as an artist or someone in general. If you're pursuing a new career, find someone that's been in that career and be like, hey, this is what I want to do. Can you kind of help guide me? And, and there's ton of people that tells no, but look at it this way, when, it's this episode hits a little different because I'm a God-fearing man. And a lot of episodes we don't talk about that because, I don't want to ruffles the wrong feathers, and I want to help people.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
a lot of artists probably wouldn't be on here if that was the topic we discussed. And
Right.
I'm not knocking anyone. But yeah, as someone that is a God-fearing person, I've had to step back and be like, all right, God, I'm getting out of your way.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've hurt my life trying to control stuff on my own way more than God has, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I totally get that. I think that's where I'm at too, is where like, yeah, you don't want to ruffle feathers, but it's like, I think the best thing that we can do, and I made a point to do it since the beginning. My very first show, I sing those couple songs, and it's in my music as well. Obviously, you can hear that Christian vein in there, but I don't think we need to like beat people over the head with Bibles. You don't have to be out there and be like, you need to convert. Like that's not the goal. I don't think that's what Jesus would do if he was here. I think he would just show I think what I want to do is what I'm saying is like show what Christ has done in my life, to take a kid that was too afraid to do, to even sing in a mic or to sing outside of the shower or the car, and to show what a career can be built out of it, and a day-to-day and a happiness and a joy that can be brought back into a life, even in the midst of tragedies, how he can be there and be putting hope in the hopeless and healing the broken.
Right on. Yeah, and I think being a light in a very dark world is very important. But I think it has to start with showing each other love.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people don't get that,
Stop. I can't talk.
You're being rude.
Stop it. I can't talk.
But a lot of that is, society has put that damper on everything. That
Oh yeah.
if you show someone a hug, give someone a hug, you may be on the funny side, or
Mm-hmm.
society has made labels, and I think that is where we have gone wrong as society, is the labeling on everything. Whether it's give me those. Hold up a second.
Nope, you're all good.
But yeah, show society that, you can take your labels and shove it up your butt. I mean, I hate to say it that
Yep.
way, but we really do, because becoming to, where...
I think that. So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
No, go ahead. I lost my train of thought.
No, I agree. I think that there has been like this huge, like, I think there was an attempt to kind of try to silence people, and like, I'm not going to get political because I refuse to do that. It's
Me too.
Not going to do good for anybody. I mean, people can take their guess as to which side I probably lean towards, but it doesn't. I'm not a political person. I am probably more down the center than I even give myself credit for. But like, it just comes to a point where like that doesn't even matter. The politics of everything. It just, we were never meant to be people that were supposed to be apart from one another. And I think like the 5 years ago when all this COVID stuff and all the stuff that like just it killed all these small businesses, and music obviously took a huge hit. Like nobody was at the bars singing for months and months. Like bars couldn't even stay open. Like all these places were closing down, and people didn't know what was left or right, and we were forced to stay away from each other. And I it feels like it was 10 years ago already, but the point being, I just don't think that we're meant to love God, and we're meant to love people. And I just think that there's never been a more important time than right now, just with all the things that have been going on in the news. Again, not gonna talk politics, but with the tragedy that just happened last week, I think that there is the need for more authentic music than ever before. And I'm not here to promote myself. I'm here to promote that spirit of authenticity and the spirit of God's grace and God's love to the world, hopefully. I mean,
Yeah.
if any fame were to ever come from any of this stuff, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter my name. I want it to be a platform where I can spread that, something that's bigger than myself.
Oh yeah, that's ultimately what it's trying to do. And like, that's what my goal is here, is it's not necessarily to shove religion down someone's throat.
No, never should.
But I want to show the compassion. So many people don't have these horrible stories. And at the end of the day, it's suck it up, deal with it how you can. There's no compassion in that. I mean, and at the same time, there is people that constantly woe me. And I'm not saying you have to be woe me about things, but it's okay to talk through a situation, like you going through losing your son. I mean, I could not imagine. I couldn't, but if you wouldn't have talked to people, you wouldn't have got through it. When I went through my divorce, if I wouldn't have talked to people, I wouldn't have been where I am today.
Yep.
But also, I wouldn't be where I am today without music. Because, not all my music I listen to is super religious. I listen to a lot of country.
Yeah.
But I also, when I went through my divorce, I listened to my first song I listened to all the time was She Hates Me by Puddle of Mud.
Hey, well,
I was
sometimes you just
angry.
need to have that. Yeah.
I was angry, you know. So then it went from that to What Hurts the Most by Rascal Flatts, you know. I've always loved that song, but when I went through my divorce, the lyrics just resonated different. And then it
Absolutely.
went from that to Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror, because through my divorce or through my marriage, it was so toxic, I lost who I was.
How long were you married?
12 years.
A long time.
Well, okay, we were together 12 years, married 8.
It's still a lot, though. It's a long time to be together.
You know, my biggest struggle was I lost who I was, you know,
Right.
Because of the relationship. And I'm not blaming her. It takes two to cause a problem. I'm not going to be like, oh, it's all your fault, blah, 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 blah. Mistakes were made on both sides.
Yeah.
Okay. Instead. But, you know, show love, you know. I make the point with my daughter, you know, I have other kids and life happened and I lost them through my marriage, you know, unfortunately. And I'm not pointing blames. I'm not doing that mistake, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
So with my daughter that I got sole custody of, I'm able to show her every day, you know, Daddy makes mistakes. And I think that's where as society, we got to start with our own families before we can worry about the mistakes Joe Blow made up the street, you know.
Yeah. Right.
If, you know, my daughter, she'll call me out on stuff. She's 3. Well, she'll be 3 the 21st. So she'll call me out on stuff. She's like, Daddy, you're not supposed to say that. That's what working on not cussing. Just I do cuss like a sailor sometimes.
Sure.
But it's being man enough to say, okay, you're right. I'm sorry I said that, or I'm sorry I did that.
Yeah.
That's what is important. Okay, stop, please. Stop. No, it's not funny. Don't touch the computer. But that's what I want her to see, you know, is to take it 5 minutes, you know, sit down with your kid. Yeah. Don't be in your phone kind of parent, you know, and sometimes it's a little hard even for me because I do DJ and now I got this podcast going on. Yeah. But I take 3 days off a week.
Yep.
So, you know, as
there
you
again,
can see,
too. Like there used to be you know, the way that society was set up when I feel like America was at its finest was when we lived in a world where there was a stay-at-home parent and like there was one breadwinner and like that. So like when I was growing up, my family was able to do that. Like it was tight, but like my mom stayed home with us until we went to school essentially. And then worked nights for a while and then until we got a little older and then they eventually, you know, when we could get on the bus on our own and do all this stuff and whatever, but then they, you know, she went back to work and everything. And I feel like those years of that put my sister and I into a better trajectory towards school. And like, we were like tying other kids' shoes, you know, we already learned how to do ours. And we could like do other kids. Like by the time that we hit kindergarten, knew how to read and write and do all the basic stuff that, you know, kind of got us going. And I just think that, you know, that right there, what you said just made me think of that. Cause, you know, I think there's families that the way that the world's set up now, or you have to put your kids in daycare and you're not going to see them all day. And there's nothing wrong with that. Cause that's just the way that it is. But I was feeling that disconnect to a point, like, cause I would work, my hours weren't terrible. Like I would be at work from 6 to 2. So I get my daughter by 2:30, but it was all that time that I just felt like I was away that now that I'm home, I've had so many little adventures with her in the last couple of weeks of doing this kind of stay at home in the beginning of the week and then be a musician into the weekend. And I just feel the growth already in just a couple weeks of doing that now full time. And it's something that I feel like is kind of a disconnect in society, is like the way that we have to be so productive, and we have to, keep chasing that neon rainbow, for lack of a better term. And we're kind of losing it with our kids because of the little blockers that are coming into our lives. And I just think I think that'll hurt that generation in the future, if we don't find a way to get around that.
Pretty soon they're not going to want your advice. They're not going to want your love.
Right. Yeah. Why would they need us when they got AI, right?
Well, not just that. They're going to go to school and they're going to hear what people think their opinion of a society, and they're going to start forming it. And that starts early. I mean, it really does.
And they should have the right to make their own opinion, but it should be being fed the correct information and being able to make an assessment based off of both sides of something and truly form.
For sure.
Yeah.
But that's where us as parents, especially, and we're going to shift it a little bit, us as men need to do a better job at guiding our family.
Yeah.
And you look at all the statistics, the people in prison, 9 times out of 10, that it was because of their home life growing up.
Yeah.
And that's sad to me. Like, I've been pretty fortunate, I work home health, so 2 days a week. So I'm able to take my daughter to work with me, so she's with me a lot. Well, now she's in Head Start. They don't have school today though, but she's in Head Start, which, and I'm not knocking. Sometimes as a parent, it's okay to need help. Like, I'm trying to remodel a house, and having a 3-year-old underneath your feet sometimes isn't the easiest way to get done, but you improvise.
Yep.
Like, she loves helping me. And, sometimes it's them little things. Like, I remodeled her bedroom in the new house, right? That working on getting into that I bought last year. Once I got the 4 flicks and it was safe for her to be in there, I let her come in there and help me. She was dragging me pieces of laminate snapped together flooring, and Daddy, I'm helping. Take them times. Yeah, you got life to do, but involve your kids.
Yep. Take them with. Let them do little things that think that they're being part of it, and they probably are.
And I ain't gonna lie, there's days I purposely drop screws on the floor so she felt like she was helping, because that does just as much for her as it does me. Yeah. Because then she comes home, and right now I'm living with my aunt. So then she comes home and says, Aunt Wee Jane, I helped Daddy put my floor together, So take time, and that's my big advice to a father. And if you're struggling and you got too much stuff on your plate, so it's pulling you from your kids, maybe it's time you take some stuff off your plate.
Yep.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with helping people. But you got to help your family first. They need you. And that's what I try being so careful, because like I do have so much I'm working on: my house, my business, my podcast. And now started a couple weeks ago. I'm part of another podcast called The Love Noise on Wednesday nights. But I made sure that I take time and I make time for her.
Yeah.
And it's so important that they're showed love and they're showed compassion. And, you make mistakes, let's be honest, you yell. That's not the right reaction. Sometimes it takes saying, hey, I'm sorry, I'm yelled at you, or blah, blah, blah. But then you got to explain to them why you yelled so they understand the cycle, Daddy yelled because you weren't listening. If you would listen, Daddy wouldn't, kind of thing. But then you got to start to change. If you don't like, sit down, please, so you don't get hurt. Thank you. But take time and talk to them. I mean, and if something's going on, and we know our kids better than most people.
Yeah.
Put your stuff
I've done
down.
that with my daughter, where she's been, just defiant about something, and finally, just after 5 minutes of, okay, we're not going in the right direction. Let's go up to your room, and we're gonna sit here until we figure it out. I think it's worked every time.
Yeah, like with mine, I ain't gonna lie. She gets mad. She's 3.
Mm-hmm.
She's learning her emotions. So I tell her, I said, it's okay. It's not okay to yell. It's not okay to hit. And I maybe use a little different parenting technique, but I was like, go to your room, and when you're done throwing a fit, you can come out and talk to me, and we'll figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
But, and I tell her, I use timeout, and not just for her, but when I'm frustrated as a single parent sometimes, and I'm like, all right, go to your room. Daddy needs a timeout.
Yep.
So it's okay to show your kids, society, or whoever that we need help.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a moment to gather your thoughts. And that's a big thing. So many people talk before they speak, talk before they think.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
Sometimes we got to shut our mouth and let cards fall as they may. I mean, and that's been probably one of my hardest things to learn, is because I've had to literally watch people hate me on Facebook and not defend myself.
Yeah.
But
it's been a weird world where you can't, seems like you have to have one opinion or the other, and you can't, there's no seemingly middle ground like there used to be, where you could have differing opinions, but still, have a barbecue with that same person later on that day. Like, nowadays it's like, if you're differing, it's like you got to be enemies, and it shouldn't be that way.
There's no more agreeing to disagree.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of what I got from you. Leave the laptop alone, Cheyenne. Okay, you can play with the walkie-talkie, but leave Daddy's laptop alone. But so many times that people have gotten to, oh, what'd you say? And it's over stupid stuff anymore. It's like, yeah. You like the band Green Day? I can't stand Green Day. We're
Yeah, we can't be friends now.
I hate to say it, but it's over stupid stuff,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I shared something on Facebook and someone said, I don't like that.
Well, then sometimes we shift and grow too, and then you almost get burned for going back on what you originally said like 3 years ago or something. It's like, people change, man. Like, I on a very smaller scale of this, and it less severe. Me and my wife argue about this because, like, for instance, I used to not like the Foo Fighters for some reason, and I don't even remember why it was at this point. It was like, I don't know if it was just because I was such a Nirvana fan that I just couldn't stand, like, Dave Grohl being off drums or something. I don't know what it was, but I eventually.
I'm gonna go outside the Super Bowl.
No, not with
the Super Bowl.
Actually, probably what did it was probably rock radio. I bet you it was rock radio, because they played Everlong. It seemed like every hour or something. Like, sometimes like they do with Metallica, or they just play it too much. But point being, now I'm such a fan of them, and like we always argue, like, oh, you used to hate them, and I'm like, hey, but I grew, I changed, I developed as a person and a musician, and now I respect their music, type of thing. And that can be said too with, like, point of views on Facebook about politics or anything in life like that. I think sometimes we just say the wrong thing, and like you said, it's okay to be wrong, and we just gotta say sorry and be like, hey, made a mistake.
Oh, I completely agree. But at the same time, if you don't agree with someone, you don't necessarily have to comment. I mean,
right.
I hate to reference a Disney movie, but I do it a lot. Takes me back to Bambi. Thumper, what did your father say? If you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. Yep. And I hate to make it so simple, but it really is that simple.
I think it does come down to the simplest of things, from something that was said in the 50s, I bet, or the 60s when that came out. Actually, anyways.
I don't know, but I'm just saying, we had more movies like that and more stuff like that, and I think as a society, we just need to get back to loving one another. And, that's my big message I say every podcast, is that if you're out there and struggling, get help, don't give up. Biggest quote, my favorite quote, is, you win if you don't quit. I mean, it's so simple, but the impact it has,
Mm-hmm.
And then also, if you're out there and you're an artist or in a different new career and you're struggling to believe in yourself, I like quotes. So here's you another quote. One person with a belief is equal to a force of 99 with just an interest. So the ability to believe in yourself is so strong that you can almost overcome anything as long as you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And
That can't be more true. I've experienced that.
And what I've also had to learn, because I used to hate my voice. I'm not going to lie. I used to hate my voice. And I was like, I would do these episodes and I was like, okay, that episode's done. And then Bubba called me out on it and he's like, have you ever watched your episode? I was like, actually, no. Because when I first started, I couldn't stand the sound of my voice.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They couldn't listen back.
Yeah, because I couldn't stand the sound of my own voice. I'm not good. And then he's like, wait a minute. You want this thing to go big, but you won't listen to your own voice. I'm like, no. He's like, how can you expect someone else to?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which is good. I mean, and now I've actually shifted to where I have went back and I've listened to every one of my podcasts from day one. From my first interview and being with Bubba to my interview that just released last week with a guy named Levi.
Yeah.
I listen to everyone. I watch everyone. I take notes, mental notes on, my very first one didn't have any of these special slides, or it was just me on camera bringing someone else on. Welcome to blah, 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 blah. And the evolving, and I'm sure you see it as a musician from where you started when you first started recording even to where you are now, the growth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's where you got to be able to take positive feedback,
Yep.
Like I could have told Bubba, shove your opinion up your butt, I could have, but it was, okay. It was actually really good advice. So I'm not doing now, and I've had them as being in a sound guy. I got thrown into that. My very first show, a guy showed up drunk. He was supposed to be the sound guy. I had my karaoke equipment there because I was doing karaoke and playing music while the band set up.
Yep.
Oh, that was the original plan.
Oh.
And a buddy of mine that did the festival, he's like, hey, Willie, I hate to ask you, but is there any way you can run sound? I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah. What a different animal,
And because with karaoke, you don't really have to mess with the tones and the mids, the highs, the lows.
Right.
And you can you may have to change the gain a little bit for each individual. But you could potentially leave the mixer alone.
Right, because you're not really trying to make them sound like professionally, mixed in with these
exactly.
Tracks. It's just karaoke
Now,
thing.
And as a sound guy, you got to be on your feet. I mean,
you got to explore that room.
And you got to get up and leave. I'm not saying get up and leave the area. I'm saying walk what you're doing. Like if you're doing in a venue, get your sound set where you think it should sound at. Because not everywhere every venue you're going to be out in front of the stage. Some you're going to be aside. I've had some where I was behind the stage. That's a tough one to do, but you get up and you walk.
Right.
And you take mental notes. Okay, I don't hear his guitar. His voice is drowning out his guitar. I need to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes everybody thinks, more is the answer. And I've had to learn, the biggest thing I've had to learn is listen to your ears. Yep. If you need to turn down your vocals, because your vocals are powering, turn your vocals down. Because sometimes if you peak that volume too much, no one's going to want to hear it because it's way too loud.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't you agree the importance of taking advice?
Absolutely. Yeah. It obviously use it with a filter because not everybody is going to be out there to give you good advice. Some people are just sharks and are there to tear you down. But if you have a genuine person that is in your life and is a good person that's not going to stray you down a bad path by giving you, advice. Take it and run with it, and gotta listen to your friends, listen to your family.
Okay, so we're gonna do this. What is one advice? You're gonna give two advice, and you're gonna give an advice. The first one's gonna be an advice you took that come from someone with love.
An advice that I took that come from someone with love. Okay. This wasn't even about music. This is when I was about 16 years old. I was in wrestling in high school. It was my first year, and I was getting my butt whooped at this one tournament. My grandpa come to see me, and I got whooped the whole day. I didn't win one match. It was terrible. And I come home, and I was just PO'd about it, right? And, he was kind of that guy that was, old school. I thought he was going to make fun of me or, like, tell me I needed to toughen up or whatever. But nope, he simply just said, "Hey, you did good out there today." And I said, "I lost every match." "What do you mean?" He goes, "You got to learn to walk before you can run, right?" And he kind of left. He walked out the door and went home. That was it. But I would say that to anybody that's pursuing not only music, but anything. I mean, just take it slow. Start off simple. Don't overdo it. Don't overthink your setup. If you're a live musician, you don't need the biggest, baddest equipment to sound good out there. Like, just start simple, make an impact, start, making some money off of it, and upgrade your equipment as you go. I definitely have gone through many stages of this since starting, not only with gear, but just my voice and the way I pursue it and the way that I promote myself out there and the way I run my shows too is all changed. So just walk before you can run.
Oh yeah. So okay, now we're gonna go to the bipolar opposite. What's been that one advice that someone gave you and you could tell it was just out of hate, and you're like, "Screw you, buddy, I'm not taking that."
I don't know if I've really had hateful advice doing this.
I don't necessarily mean with your music. I mean in general.
Oh, okay. In that case, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before. Like, don't be afraid to don't stop being yourself. Like, don't try to be the cool guy in the room. I let myself do that for much, much too long. Like, and a good example of that is like in high school. I felt like I was pretty good at like language classes and like writing and poetry and stuff like that. And clearly that was a strong suit because that goes into songwriting now. But I think I used to kind of undercut my ability to do that in like writing poems or something for school, or doing a project, a study on something, because I felt like, oh, if I give too much effort into this, my friends are going to think I'm dumb, or not dumb, but like a sissy for wanting to be good at poetry and stuff like that. And it's like, looking back, I would tell that kid, like, who cares? Like, if this could be a strong suit for what you want to do in songwriting and stuff like that in the future. And so, like, don't undercut yourself or don't sell yourself short to try to be the cool guy in the room or cool gal in the room. Follow your heart.
Well, you just kind of answered my next question, because I was going to ask you what advice would you give the younger you, but you kind of just answered that one for me.
I did. Yeah.
See, and that's what I was saying. The questions depends on how that comes out, because not every podcast is going to be the same,
Sure.
And that's the thing, the heart. So we're probably going to get ready to wrap this up.
Sure.
To an artist. Now, I want you, to someone in the artist field, give an advice to someone that is struggling with either starting off or just they flatlined.
Sure. Find your inspiration again. Like, what was the reason that you started doing this in the first place? What was your mission? Do you have a mission? Maybe that's the reason that it faltered in the first place. Like, what do you want to get out of this? Are you looking to make a career out of it? Are you looking to have a passionate side hobby? Are you looking to make an impact on somebody? So I think assess those things, find out what is your reason why behind it all, and reignite that flame, because it could go out or it could change paths. Maybe you started off as a hobby and now you want to do something more with it. And so just always be chasing that, your why behind the what, I guess.
Awesome. So that's some really good advice. So why don't you tell everyone one more time where they can find you, your music at?
Okay. So yeah, easiest way, chasegrantmusic.com. And then there's clickable links on there to all the social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And all my original music is out there on all those platforms like Spotify, Apple, Amazon. I got a new song coming out on Friday. It's called Daisy. And that's the last single that's going to get released before my full-length album. That comes out in October, mid-October. And that one is going to be called 29 is the name of the album.
29.
29.
And also, guys, if you're not liking him or liking me, follow, and subscribe. Show him some love, you know. And also, just remember, love one another, encourage each other. And real quick, if you're out there and you're an artist and you want on the podcast, don't think that your story isn't impactful enough, because everyone has a story. And the thing about a story, every story has a chapter. Every chapter has a beginning and the end. Just because this chapter you're going through is ending doesn't mean greater things are ahead of you. So just remember, keep going, and especially, you know, if you're out there and you like what you heard and you want to relate and you can share your story, and reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube. But also, real quick, just a couple quick announcement here. If you're an artist and you want to support and show love to the Scene Project, you can text the Scene to 605-800-5990. And, you know, that's will benefit y'all, but also join the Scene Project. It's a little network that right there going across the bottom screen for you can't see it. Group.thesceneprojects.com. And it's kind of like a little Facebook community, but it's on the Scene Projects, obviously, where you can post what you got going on and within the community. And also, there's live radio. We're now on Live 365. If you want your music heard, reach out to me. We got a form you got to submit out, but just reach out. We'll get you going in the right direction. But guys, remember, you are loved, and you're not alone, and no matter what you're going through.
Dada, I need another more.